is efforts made towards administrative reforms. Efforts made toward the administrative reforms for so far been lacking in the congruence between the strategy, structure, and substance. After independence, federal system of government was adopted in India. The partition and system of federation made it necessary to adopt revolutionary administrative reform. Both central and state government were feeling for a long period needs for administrative reform, set up new political, social, economic order, and to satisfy the aspiration of people. And the problem of administration reform in India is larger and more complex. And every other country in the world, there is matter of sheer size and diversity of population to the above. We may add two other factor which is responsible for making the problem of administration reform extremely complicated and difficult. First, we have to get away from the heritage of pre-independence which was left by the British in the wish of people all ignored. Second, the government of India have adopted the goal of welfare state, and the government and material are continuously changing, and if administration is to serve its purpose, it has to continuously changing, and administration is to serve its purpose, it has to continuously adopt its change. The nature and scope of reforms vary depending on the magnitude of problems and conceived very narrowly by being done in past both the center and state level. So now next question is while all affairs the reforms in the public administration by the political executive resulted no significant output. So reforms are essential for the administration to cope up with the changing environment. Without reform, the administration become the closed system. So it will become the closed system. Okay, and disintegrated. In India, here have been many attempts to reform the administration due to the rigidity of bureaucracy and reluctance to change, coupled with the unwillingness to political executive to reform the administration, have resulted very lesser degree of reform. And the main responsibility of administration rests with the political executive who use the administration apparatus for his policy implementation. So to reform the administration become imperative for tackle new complex situation and to delete all those working that are become obsolete. For this purpose, many committee were set up to give the recommendation, but still, due to the reluctance shown the bureaucracy, the reforms have not been much successful. In the bureaucracy is the main force of against the reform and thinks the reforms will undermine their positions. After reform, they will be left with less power and prestige, and the reform will work against the bureaucratic ethics and culture. On the other hand, even politicians do not want to reform the administration, either due to pressure exerted on them who strongly lobby bureaucracy or due to their personal reason, because reform will work against the immoral practice, corruption, nepotism, despotism. In this way, corrupt politicians do not want to force the reforms, and this is main reason due to which not much reform have been made in the administration of India, which is detrimental of the future development and the progress. Okay, and next one is what National Commission for Review of the Constitution has suggested revolutionary change in administration culture, analyzed major recommendation of civil service administration. So, out of the major commission of committees set up the review constitutional of the administration culture in India, the National Commission for Review of the constitution recommendation are more practical and physical. So the focus was work on administration in India has been moved forward the alleviate itself from the colonial hangover and status quo mentality, and clearly indicate that then Indian civil service was meant of exploiting Indian resources for sustaining the colonial British administration. But after independence, the regime changed and the focus changed from the colonial and welfareism. Therefore, the ICS changed the attitude toward welfare of the people and suggested that the law and order has been major concern. Therefore, in order to increase its efficiency and effectiveness and to make it more people oriented, law and order must be handed over to elected representative at district level. Incompatibility with the process of decentralization, and the further suggested that there is need for the more specialization in the civil service and rising above administrative culture. So emphasis upon the reducing at all level of post, it is stress upon generalization specialist and specialization generalist. So it's stress upon making the civil servant more amenable discipline for its recommended rationalization safeguard given under Article 311 of Constitution oriented change training and program. A control mechanism for combating against corruption is required. For this, institution of Lokpal must be established, strengthened in all possible manner. The mechanism of social audit must be devised to make more accountable further regarding the civil servants It recommended that non-performer must be weeded out from the organization and available talented must be taken in even in the contractual basis. So therefore it's favor talented entry and out of organization. It also stress upon the rationalization of personnel management. There should be a civil servant board to look after the transfer, posting, promotion and other related matters, and there should be plan and well planned career management, and highlight the importance of Right to Information Act and natural advantage of transparency, accountability mechanism for social audit, and stress upon the importance of protection of whistleblower. To some of the certainly recommendation is accepted in true spirit can well change the administration and civil service of India into a truly welfare mode. Okay. Now next one is, in your view, five most important administrative reform implemented after the independence. What are that been? So five most important administrative reforms, what you think about? So it has been appointed many committee and commission for suggesting measure for improvement administrative efficiency and accountability. So there is a Kasturbai Lalbai chairman was economic committee. Based on the recommendation, economic committee set up various ministry view to check the government expenditure including the staff. Gopalaswamy Iyengar committee reported the reorganization of government machinery. Recommendation was the ministry improving the competency, personnel and creation organization method division in the organization OMM. Paul Appleby was there, and later was administrative reform commission was there. K Hanumanthaiah. It was the various recommendation administrative machinery of other as well as state government, center state relation, personal administration, redressal of citizen grievance, and only few recommendation could be implemented on the lack of political willpower. So in series of administrative reforms, Sarkaria Commission report provided milestone development in the defining role of government, center state relation, government post to destabilize opposition rule, state government by parity. So it is Supreme Court has given the broader guideline and view of recommendation of Sarkaria Commission to the Union government and provided effective checking the arbitrary action of government. Therefore, Article 356 was there. Another second ARC Commission was chairmanship of Moily report on various aspects of governance, and most important than Right to Information, which was revolutionized country owing to this fact how the common man can access information and vital importance and can complain about the redressal of grievance under the stipulated time. Second, ARC effective crisis management and to be strengthened with the under phase of implementing gradually. It is also suggested mean of curb corruption and prevailing various office, repealing the secrets rule, ensure transparency of government. Thus various administrative reforms was promoting goals good governance, fulfill the objective of welfare state and democratic government. Now next is with reference to India, discuss the administrative reforms are multidimensional and needs for the substantially by reforms in other related area. So the state needs to focus on reducible role of government that is required to fulfill human potential and promote rapid economic growth. Abdication of state or inefficiency in their critical sector will spell disaster. So the non-negotiable role of state in for broad area need to be clearly recognized. The re-emphasize the first area, public order, justice, rule of law deficiencies has led to the declined trust in the state capacity protect life and liberty, enforce right. The deficiency in the vital area needs to be plugged through the judicial and political reform, better citizen participation, governance, transparency, more effective integrated approach. Many reforms measures taken by the union government, state government in future and rid of the grievances. So social security, new growing area, state activity to be administrative system must respond to clarity, sensitivity, efficiency. The recent enactment guarantee law efforts through the pipeline of provides measure of social security, state workers sectors, many healthcare risk pooling mechanism contemplated required effective delivering of system, special challenge posed in this emerging sector. So all these are governance and administration challenge have to be addressed context of serious resource constraint, effective empowerment of local government stakeholder, reform to ensure effective sufficient delegation, accountability. All level of delivery should be correspond as governance reform. And two administration reform commission have addressed the issue of various accounts. So one emerging area which needs special attention. Changing nature of federalism. The last decade have witnessed significant maturing federalism. The states are increasingly empowered to determine their own policy and program and union in sensitive and local needs. So however, the role of union to the expanding in the substantial measure in recent years is new ways. So education, healthcare, rural urban development, social security largely under jurisdiction and yet service are increasingly driven by the union policy and fund. Possession of resources are needs to be standardization service and compulsory reducing the regional disparity and imperative meeting of challenges growing economy. So why have necessary enlarge a union role in the sector and the administrative reforms commission to address the federal constraints such as shift in the union role in the federal democracy is quite keeping with the evolution of the large federal state, but large union funding, state control could easily erode accountability. We need to carefully design mechanism to monitor that program and enforce the accountability even the desired outcome are achieved. And the constitutional scheme division of power is fully respected. Poor implementation of will only be lead to waste, corruption, lack of accountability, growing regional disparity. So, non-performing states are punished by withdrawal of program. Poor, disadvantaged who need preferred support suffer from more regional inequality. Therefore, innovation and viable effective mechanism need to be put. Protect the public money, guarantee intended outcome, enforce accountability in any system. The quality of public servants critical in determining outcome. We have to well-established procedure, initial requirement of civil servant, and there is growing concern of our civil service administration in general have become wooden, ineffective, self-perpetuating, and inward-looking. While the bureaucracy respond to crisis situation, efficacy, closure, tardiness, failure of deal with the normal situation. So effective horizontal delegation, clear system of accountability, heart of our administration reform. At the same time, we also need to recognize the complex challenges modern administration is critical sector like policing, justice delivery, education, health, transportation, land management, infrastructure, skill promotion, employment generation, urban management. All is which needs to be domain expertise, long expertise in the sector and deep insight process of civil servants requirement, periodic training of promotion and posting strategy and career management. So we need to foster excellence in the public system and attract the continuity of the best talent expertise, and the barrier between the government and the rest of the economy and society must be lowered, and based on competence and leadership quality. Property to centralize has been dominant feature of admin. We need to truly redesign the government on the basis of principle of subsidiary. A task which performs small unit should never be entrust to large unit. Only when economy and scale are technical complexity and demand interested to larger tier should be done so. All the financial devolution and personal transfer should match, and 74 and 74 amendment is now placed but the soul of self-government empowerment as a result of the more meaningful and strategic role of itself. Similarly, local government empowerment needs to be mean weakening of state must be enabled to discover vital role in providing strategic input leadership, and whenever the community stakeholder can clearly identify the responsibility for service must be transferred to them. So stakeholder authority are directly in the control of lives. We must be know multidimensional nature of administrative reforms and supplementary to state. What is the question? Second, ARC commission is the common perception is that the incentive structure in the government is too weak and inadequate to motivate better performance. Elucidate monopoly of existing civil service over higher position to go. At present, all the civil service in India are cadre based. Person join the service and move up the ladder. The naturally controller of this is there. Very few lateral entry and the civil service enjoy virtual monopoly over the all the position in the government. With rapid expansion of knowledge, increasing complexities, and rapid expansion of private sector, a position in government can continue to be execute monopoly of the civil servant. Are only career-based civil servant always based suited to the occupied top government position? Would lateral entry bring in the more professionalism, knowledge, and please state possible negative fallouts? So at what level should be lateral entry is allowed, what should be the mechanism should be there. So incentive for the better performance, motivated and willing civil servants is the best instrument to achieve the desired outcome. Motivation comes through the incentive, and the incentive structure in governments too weak, so insufficient to motivate the better performance. Even the tool of promotion is not largely use the motivation. So principle of seniority is the generally followed rather than competence and performance. So it has been noted that the civil servant adopt the minimalist approach in the functioning, where their involvement of governance is minimum. So their work to disposing the would put them attending the meeting, how to institutionalize the performance oriented civil service, how can be civil servants proactive, what change would be the required to existing performance evaluation system, what incentive could be given to the encourage better performance, and will the existing competency package suffice its seek to promote competition excellence and lateral entry key position. Okay, now next one is administrative reforms are getting diluted because of constant tinkering on the margin rather than a holistic transformation. Discuss the statement context of reforming the district administration. With the constitutional mandated establishment of Panchayati Raj institution, municipal body, it has become necessary to re-examine, redefine the role of the district administration. It is imperative that the devolution of decision making to local level should face no impediment. It is equally imperative that the unique administrative experience, expertise, credibility of district collector built up over a period of 200 years. So second ARC, there needs to be a realigned function of deputy commissioner, district collector, so that concentration of core functions such as land revenue administration, maintenance of law and disaster management, public distribution, civil supply, exercise election, transport, census, protocol, general administration, treasury management, coordination, various agency, development of e-district ICT initiative should be taken, and comprehensive classification rules, guideline, procedure necessary for efficient suffix and delivery of better understanding among both the officers and the general public. Delegation adequate powers and responsibility needs to be done as unnecessary file movement and reluctant delays. Introduction of IT based mechanism for the feedback, grievance addressal and public grievance attend to within the specific timeline and transparent manner. Every functionary must be made accountable for the effective time redressal and public grievance, and through systematic monitoring, developing reliable central district database and data collection from the grassroots level and local level, and the database must contain the block and circle wise information and PDS, police station, scheme implemented fund and beneficiary. The real problem of administrative reform in India is the state and local level is they are imposed above. So Indian administration system is a dire needs of reform. A holistic reform encompasses not only the center but state and district. However, this reform should respect the federal spirit of Indian polity. So working the administrative reform is sure that there is imposed by center and pretext of their administration inefficient and lack innovation. So PESA Act is the most glaring example. To an extent this is true, but the real reason for inadequate reform state and district level is lack of initiative and lack of resources. Thus center must ensure enough resources to these two levels so that holistic administration reforms take place without disturbing the federal spirit of the constitution. So this chapter was all about